So I am going on a leisurely stroll, and as part of my enjoyment of this beautiful weather today, this beautiful scenery at the park, I want to talk to you about stakeholder engagement for project managers. If you are sitting around and listening, bored the last couple of minutes at the job, this is going to be extremely beneficial to you because as a project manager, the critical skill that every project manager needs to have is good communication. And that is the foundation of stakeholder engagement, which, as AI tools, different automation starts to come into play for the project manager role, your ability to communicate with all stakeholders and to communicate effectively is going to be the difference between having a job as a project manager or having to reskill into another job category. Stakeholder engagement is key. And the foundation of stakeholder engagement is communication. So I'm going to give you one solid tip today on how you can start to foster better stakeholder engagement with the customer for your project. And this is actually the most important stakeholder relationship that you will have on a project because the customer is not only the one that is receiving the outcomes of the project, they are also the ones that can determine whether or not there's follow on work for your organization due to having a successful project. So you want to establish early and maintain a good working relationship with the customer. And you also want to learn your customer and learn the way that they prefer to receive information. You want to learn, are they detail oriented or do they like high level updates? You want to know, do they prefer to meet by conference call and not be on camera if you're having a virtual call, or do they prefer to have opportunities to meet in person if you're not in a 100% remote virtual environment? You want to know, do they want to have formal project status meetings and then have one-on-ones with you as a project manager in a kind of like a quick and short, more detail oriented update? You need to learn all of these things about your customer, and in particular whoever it is you're going to be engaging with on a day-to-day basis, so that you build the strongest relationship with your customer as a key stakeholder. They are not only a key stakeholder, but they are a key decision maker. It's even likely that they will be the ones that approve and sign off on acceptance of deliverables. So, as a project manager, you know that there are internal and external stakeholders, but the most important stakeholder relationship is going to be with the customer. And that is the stakeholder relationship that you want to ensure that you nurture early and often. So, one way that you can get all of that information that I just told you, which is to learn how your customer likes to receive information. Do they like detailed status updates, or do they like high level, straight to the point summary bullet points? That's one piece. Do they like to communicate frequently, or do they prefer more static, spread out meetings? So very methodical. They want to meet once a month, but in that one meeting every month, they get all of the updates, and then you won't hear from them again for another month. And then also the type of communication or the communication method that they prefer. Do they want to have meeting virtual meetings where you're always on camera and you're dialoguing that way, or do they prefer just a quick conference call? All of these things are important. It seems like it's not a big deal, but that lets the customer know that you are not only in tune with and paying attention to their needs as a key stakeholder, but it makes your job easier as a project manager, because the other piece to great stakeholder engagement with the customer is consistency and trust. Underlying all of that is trust. If the customer knows, what state am I in? Oh, I'm in Georgia, and this is a beautiful one of our beautiful parks here in Georgia. Okay, so we've got someone from Washington on as well. That's great. It's a beautiful day out here in Georgia, and we're just shy of some rain that we had the last couple of days. So I'm taking advantage of being outside while the sun is out and giving you some of these good tips about stakeholder engagement. So if you did just join, this is going to be a quick live. I really wanted to get on and give some insight and some tips and really easy to implement strategy for nurturing stakeholder relationships, particularly with the customer. So, if you are new to project management, it may be overwhelming as to what do I focus on first. But something that everybody that either new to project management or has already been in project management needs to know, that stakeholder engagement is top dog. Why? Because not only are technical advancements, the continued increase in use of AI in a project manager's role, that's only going to continue to accelerate as the months and the years go by. It's also going to be impacted by automation as well. So, what can a project manager bring to the table aside from knowing how to use different AI tools to facilitate their role as a project manager? And that is going to be on stakeholder engagement. That is going to be the difference maker between a project manager that moves a project along and also gets into position to advance in their career versus a project manager that is stagnant. And communication is the foundation to all of that. So I wanted to get on here, like I said, and just give a couple of pointers on how you can work today to start building better stakeholder relationships, particularly with a customer. And if you're not a project manager right now, you can start practicing this now. That's one thing that people that are interested in becoming project managers and don't know where to start or how to start getting into a project manager mindset can very easily do right now, today, whatever role that you are in. Start to refine and develop your communication skills, specifically around the way a project manager would. And so a project manager is stakeholder first. They are customer centric. So again, I'm going to go back to three things that you can pay attention to and that you can start practicing now. So you want to pay attention to and start to apply communication strategies to how does the customer, which is going to be my key stakeholder, how do they like to receive information? Do they like summary information that hits the high points, or do they like detail? An example of that could be summary information, bullet points, detail, sentences. So practically, how could you apply this? You're doing a status report for a detail oriented customer, which is your key stakeholder. When you're doing a status report, you're going to write, for the detail oriented one, you're going to write sentences and paragraphs. For the high level, um high level, just want updates, summary updates, you're going to do bullet points. So that would be the difference between a detail-oriented customer and a um, summary or high level oriented customer, the way they want to receive their information. So that's one thing. Second, it's going to be the method of communication that the customer prefers. So a a detail oriented customer may want to have more frequent meetings, status meetings. So not only will they want to have an increased frequency in status meetings, they may also want to have those either in person or, if they are virtual, cameras on. So again, you would start to adjust the way that you communicate with the customer according to their preference for meeting. And then the last thing, the third consideration when it comes to customer and being customer centric as a project manager is you want to also ensure that the frequency that the customer prefers, the frequency of meeting that the customer prefers, is what you adhere to. So if you have a customer that likes to meet more often, send calendar invites, send meeting invites for at least the next 3 to 6 months, if not a year, depending on the duration of your project. Send that meeting invite out and have that on their calendar. This seems simple and like, oh, this is obvious. It's not. All of these things indicate to the customer, without you outrightly saying, I really want to have a great relationship with you as the project manager to the customer. It demonstrates to them that you're paying attention. It demonstrates to them that you're in charge as the project manager and that you are effectively making sure that their needs are met as the customer for receiving information and for remaining in the loop and updated. And it also sets a tone of consistency, because that is the key to trust in stakeholder relationships as a project manager. You establish consistency and you establish something regular and recurring, and then you don't have to focus on that anymore. You can focus all of your attention on other things, like the information that you actually are providing, getting additional requirements or getting additional um uh let's see, not only not additional requirements, because you definitely don't want to increase the scope at all. That's another that's another talk for another time about scope creep. But by making everything else logistical, administrative, making all of those things regular and recurring allows you to focus your attention on the specific needs of the customer. And if you are new to project management or you are a new project manager, these are things that you can start to apply immediately, and it also starts to establish the way you communicate with a customer. And that's the key to everything. So again, it seems like, oh, this is obvious, I would do that anyway. Okay, maybe you would, and maybe you already thought about that, and oh, maybe, what's the point of all of this? It's the repetition and the action. It doesn't matter if you know it, and if you know the right thing to do, and if you're so smart that you already know how to do all of that. That's not what's important. What's important is that the customer knows that. Again, customer centric. The customer needs to know that you're focusing in on their needs. And so then you, as the project manager, by you focusing in on what their needs are and you basically crafting everything around this information that you learn about the customer, how they like to receive information, detail or summary, how do they prefer to communicate in person or virtually, and then the frequency with which they want to communicate, often or often or regular and spaced out, all of those things put you in the position for the customer to let their guard down about whether or not you're going to do a good job or if you know how to handle and lead the project. And then they will focus their attention on getting you the information that you need because they trust you. They trust that you have everything under control. They trust that you have already eh, um, considered what their needs were, and then you started to adjust the project around the needs of the customer. And so then when you ask them for more information or you ask them for specific clarifications, they are more likely to give you all the information that you need, respond to all of the requests and questions that you have because they trust you. So trust and communication go hand in hand with stakeholder engagement. And again, the priority stakeholder relationship for a project manager is going to be with the customer. And whoever the individual is that represents the customer and is usually going to be the person that approves deliverables, approves changes, approves increases in funding, if that's something that is necessary. All of those types of things can be influenced by the customer. So you want to ensure that that is the first stakeholder relationship that you as a project manager that you nurture. So I see there's been some people going in and out and jumping in and on, on or off of this live session. So I am also going to drop off and enjoy this beautiful weather, this beautiful scenery, and get a stroll in, get my steps in. And I want to leave you with this as a take action quick tip that you can do today, right now, to improve your communication skills. Because it doesn't matter if you are a project manager or you are in any other role for that matter, communication is a critical skill. It's not a soft skill, it's a foundational skill that everyone needs to have in any role that they are in. Not because it's going to get you promoted and all of that. No, it's because for whatever it is that you do, current role, future role, whatever your heart's desire is, your stretch goal, your stretch position or opportunity, is going to be the success of that is going to be rooted in your ability to communicate and to communicate effectively. And in particular, if you are a project manager, that is going to be critical moving forward as project management tasks and activities that PMs do now will be overtaken by automation and overtaken by AI tools. So, what you will be left with is your ability to engage with diverse stakeholders, and it will be dependent on your ability to strategically position the project and the project team to achieve the goals of the project. Because those other tasks, such as creation of documents and anything that is rooted in documentation and routine documentation, will eventually become something that is an output of an AI tool or some form of automation. So you want to start now, and you want to start today in becoming a better, more effective communicator. So with that, I'll catch you the next time around. Bye.